Donald Trump made history with his New Jersey rally. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, we do have a problem we're going to talk about in a minute in regards to the New Jersey rally, but I want to talk about the rally first. The numbers that came out immediately after that still stand. Over 100,000 people showed up to see President Trump in New Jersey. And that is, and it's being promoted as a New Jersey record for a political event. That is, it may be a New Jersey record, but that is a record in the United States. There has never been in the history of the United States a president or presidential candidate who has had 100,000 people turn out for them and them alone.
Yeah, it's
ever.
The largest political rally that has ever happened in this country, maybe even in the world. Has any other candidate around the world ever had that?
Well, I don't know. Some of these dictators command the population.
Oh, that's true.
So you never know.
At least in America.
But
they force them to go there.
It is the largest campaign event for a president or presidential candidate in the history of the United States of America.
I agree.
The previous record was also held by Donald Trump, okay? He broke his own record again. And it's insane. I mean, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It was a great rally. It was a great speech. We very well may have gotten your prediction for vice president, the governor of North Dakota, Burgum. He was there.
Yep, I think it's going to be him.
And I didn't know too much about him. And I read up on Burgum this morning. I didn't realize what a successful businessman he was. He's an incredibly successful, pretty much self-made businessman. Okay. And then he went into politics. So there's a lot of common ground with him and Trump there,
yes.
you know, so. And
they have probably a similar view on how to run the country.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
He wants somebody that's going to take that baton and go with it.
He's very conservative on all the key issues, you know, gun, all that stuff. So, you know, and he came out and gave a great introductory speech, and he's been on television the last week or two saying a lot of good things about Trump. He's certainly at the very top of a list if he hasn't already been chosen. In fact, in the speech yesterday, President Trump said there were going to be some things announced about him soon, right? There's some things coming up about him. So that was an indicator. But who knows? You know, anything could change. He may not be the pick. Who knows? But he seemed all right, and I was pretty impressed with him. So this rally was absolutely amazing. It was on Saturday. Even Fox News was reporting the numbers. They were there covering it live. And then I read something in Mediaite, which I'm going to share with you. And Mediaite is liberal, no doubt about it. But what they wrote is true. And before I tell you what it is, this is possibly a problem. In the first term of President Trump, there was a spy. We're not sure who it was. It could have been Pence, but there was a spy. And the spy got him to do three things. And there were three things in Trump's first term that someone got him to do that set him up, okay? The first one was appointing Jeff Sessions as Attorney General. Okay, Jeff Sessions, of course, appointed Mueller and got that whole Russia-Mueller investigation going, right? And Jeff Sessions was in the Senate, and he was the first senator to endorse Donald Trump for president, and he was campaigning with him, and then he became the Attorney General. And he probably was sent there to endorse and campaign with him as a spy. He was probably placed there by the establishment. The second thing that someone got Trump to do that ended up not being a good thing was choosing Mike Pence as vice president. And then the third was someone gave President Trump the idea to give a speech in the Washington Mall outside the White House on January 6th. And I suspect that the same person was involved with all three of those things: Sessions, Pence, and the speech on January 6th. Now, it's kind of hard to determine who that might be, because it could be someone who just had a spark of an idea that suggested to somebody, and then they got it going. It may not be somebody right in the front that made it happen. They may have just got the idea going and got these things. We don't know. But there was certainly someone inside Trump's camp that got him to do those three things, all three of which were bad things.
And we can assume they were intentional.
Yeah, and we talked...
Not like, I didn't know. They were intentionally done to sabotage.
That's correct, to sabotage Trump. And we talked about this in the past, about these three things and somebody inside of his circle. And when we talked about it back then, when all this stuff was going on, I said, if you went to Sessions, Pence, and the January 6th speech in the Washington Mall that Trump gave, whoever came up with the first spark of those ideas is a spy.
Yeah.
Well, there was something that happened that should not have happened at Trump's historic, beautiful, perfect rally of 100,000 on the Jersey Shore. And, these things, there are things that you've got to stay away from so they don't cause you problems. Like, for example, one thing we were talking about a lot in the last week or two, I guess it's been 2 weeks, is the puppy thing with Kristi Noem. I understand. I'm not going to go through it.
You noticed she wasn't at the rally.
No, she was not.
No. She's been cut loose.
But we can't have somebody around who shot a... And I don't... Oh, well, that's a farm, and it's 14 months old.
Doesn't matter.
Come on, guys. We can't have somebody messing up this perfect campaign that's going so well that shot a puppy, okay? So... Mediaite reported something about the rally, and I'm going to read this story to you. This should not have happened. Okay? This should not have happened. Someone around Trump should have made, when this idea first happened, they should have done some vetting, saw what I'm about to share with you, and made sure that this didn't happen. But
and vetting what you're going to say is not that difficult to do with Google.
This is just a Google search.
I mean, you can easily search somebody's name, and especially if they're a famous athlete or a famous actor or something, and something will pop up by the first or second page. I mean, vetting in this regard would take 5 minutes to do. It's not difficult to do now. Trump just doesn't have time for that. He has people he depends on and trusts to do it for him. So I don't know if this particular thing you're going to mention was intentional or if it was just something that happened at the very last minute. I think the guy who... Well, you tell the story, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Let me go through this. Okay, and what I'm talking about is Lawrence Taylor. And I don't follow sports. I don't follow athletes. I follow news. I follow politics. I don't follow... sports. I don't follow athletes at all.
I had no idea who he was.
But I've heard of Lawrence Taylor. I knew who he was, but I don't know his whole bio. And a lot of people probably know about this. But this is, and I saw this at Mediaite. NFL Hall of Famer is also a registered sex offender. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. Trump invited Lawrence Taylor and Otis Anderson, both former New York Giants, to the stage. This is at the New Jersey 100,000 rally in the Jersey Shore. They're my golfing buddies too. Lawrence Taylor pleaded guilty to lesser charges in a 2011 rape case in order to avoid jail time. Lawrence Taylor admitted to misdemeanor charges of sexual misconduct. By the way, this is in Mediaite. Lawrence Taylor admitted to misdemeanor charges of sexual misconduct and patronizing a prostitute who was 16 years old at the time. Taylor said in court he thought the girl was 19 and legally able to consent. Taylor served 6 years probation and was required to register as a sex offender. At the rally, Trump pulled Lawrence Taylor in for a hug and led him to the microphone. I just wanted to, and Lawrence Taylor, I'll read you this. I'm not going to play the audio. I just wanted to say I grew up a Democrat, and I've always been a Democrat, until I met this man right here, Taylor said, pointing to Trump. I tell you what, he won't have to worry about nobody in my family ever vote for a Democrat again. Pretty articulate. Did he go to college? Did he do college ball? I got the audio here, but I'm not going to play it. Okay, now I know some people will say, I don't know anything about the story. I don't know the backstory of these allegations, of the crime, of the court case. Some of you may know. And some of you may say, oh, yeah, but there was this circumstance or that circumstance and this fact. You can't get involved in that. The guy, he's
a registered sex offender.
It's unclear to me if he still is a registered sex offender.
I thought that was for life.
No? Or not necessarily, or was. Regardless, we've got a campaign that is going perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. We don't need registered sex offenders up there on stage with President Trump. And someone around, and I know President Trump knows him and plays golf with him, but I don't think President Trump has time to look up these things himself.
No, I don't think he knew about this.
He relies on other people. And I do not believe that if President Trump knew that Lawrence Taylor had been a registered sex offender, he would have pulled him up on stage and hugged him. And
well, now he does know, so I don't think he'll be at any more rallies.
I don't know.
I think he was just there because it was kind of near, because he played for the Giants and it was in New Jersey, kind of nearby.
And it doesn't, listen, even if he was completely not guilty and all these things and everything, and he copped a plea, even if that's true, and I'm not saying it is because I don't know the backstory, it doesn't matter, okay? We don't want puppy killers and we don't want registered sex offenders around President Trump. These tiny little things, and I give you an example of what quite possibly could happen. This is in Mediaite, which is very liberal, okay? Very liberal. And people that are connected to MSNBC in the past have worked at Mediaite. So they're very much a part of the liberal anti-Trump establishment, so they know this. We have at this historic rally the largest turnout for any president or presidential candidate in the history of the United States. And the media very well could make this the story come Monday about that rally. Trump on stage with a sex offender. I'm sure they will.
Now, I was just on Twitter, and I didn't see anything about it on Twitter.
This just broke on Mediaite.
Yeah, but I promise you it'll probably be all over Twitter tomorrow.
Well,
the liberals won't be able to control themselves.
This happened one of two ways. Either that spy that we were talking about in the first term is still around, there's another spy, or somebody's incompetent.
Well, if Trump has played golf with this guy, then I'm feeling Trump invited him himself because it was in New Jersey.
Yes.
There's probably a lot of Giants fans that live in New Jersey. I don't know if New Jersey has a football team. I don't know. I know they have the hockey team, the Devils, I think, but I'm not sure I don't think they have an NFL team. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure there's a lot of New York Giants fans in New Jersey. And he likes athletes. We know that Trump's a big sports guy. So if they're friends and he invited him, I really would hope to God that he did not know about this. It's not going to affect my vote. I don't think it's going to affect anybody's vote. I just think you're right. Trump has to be careful. I don't think a sex offender is a good look for anybody.
It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It's like the thing with Kristi Noem I've been trying to explain to people. People like, oh, Brian, it's a farm. You don't understand.
I mean, we're still going to vote for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And people will.
When things are going this well, you don't have these types of controversies near him, and it is up to people on the around him to say, hey, Mr. President, he registered sex offender. We can't have him up there on stage, because what can happen with that is this. The press could make that the story of the rally.
Exactly. And
then all of a sudden they get these Me Too women on television and they're talking about it. They may even find this girl.
Yes, they probably will.
And have her sit down with Rachel Maddow or 60 Minutes or something.
They're always looking for something to rain on Trump's parade.
And our parade.
So this was an amazing rally. Okay.
Historic.
And there's pictures, aerial shots. Definitely the biggest rally he's ever had, and it's everybody lined up along the Jersey Shore. It was incredible. And I think that he will continue to have huge rallies. I don't think this will matter in that regard at all. But I agree with you that it gives the press a way out, something to mock or I don't know, maybe Trump knew about it and knows the circumstances and is like, screw it, I don't care, he's my friend. I mean, whatever. I don't want to harp on it too much.
No way. No way does he know.
Because
no.
I think it was a fantastic rally.
Perfect rally.
And I think that the energy was amazing, and the people there in Trump was very good as usual, very funny. Said a lot of funny things.
Yeah, it was
as
great
usual.
Speech. Great speech.
I am, and I was excited to see my personal prediction for VP Doug Burgum there. I predicted that weeks ago, and I think he's the one. And I think he'd be a very good choice. I am waiting for, this is the issue, with Barron. He's 18 now, and I don't know what happened with him being a delegate. He was a delegate, now he's not a delegate. I worry that his mother is too controlling, but, she is kept a very tight leash on him and protected him, which is a good thing. That's a good thing.
No, what happened with that,
protected
Kathy?
him from the press.
Let me tell you what happened with that.
And I just hope that his father, that she doesn't stop Trump from having him campaign with him.
No. I'll tell you what happened with
because
that.
I think he'd be good.
No. The Florida Republicans, he didn't seek out or anything, and they didn't talk to him.
Oh, okay.
The Florida Republicans just said he's a delegate. They did that without talking to anybody.
Okay. Do you think he will come out at any of these rallies and say something? Do you think he'll campaign with his dad?
Yeah, because
do you think his mother will let him?
Yeah. So this here was not like Melania. The Florida Republicans, without talking to the Trumps.
No, right. But I'm asking, as far as rallies, do you think Barron will go?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see.
I hope so, because he has a huge following with young people, especially girls. He has huge fan base. He's a very handsome young guy. I'd love to know where he's going to school, though. They haven't said that. And he's very tall and very intelligent from what I've heard, and confident. And I think it'd be great to see him out there with his dad, just even if he just introduces his father. I think the crowd would go wild more than anybody if Barron came out there and introduced his father. I think that would make the crowd go nuts.
Yeah.
But I understand his mom wants to protect him from the media. And the way the media works is, the minute you put yourself out there, see, this is what they're waiting for, okay? The minute Barron puts himself out there officially, that's when it's like a green light to attack in their mind. You know what I mean? He's 18. He put himself there. He interjected himself. So I would understand her reluctance. So I'm wondering if they're in agreement on this, and if Trump's going to say to him, I don't want you involved. You're too young, or I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll find out.
Because Trump gave an interview the other day and said that Barron gives him advice on things.
So he's very politically interested in politics.
This thing with the delegate thing, the Florida Republicans invited Barron to a party without talking to him or anybody.
I thought I'd read that he is going to nominate his father, though.
Yeah, they did say he was going to be at the convention and do something.
So I'm thinking that will be his coming out party, not in the gay sense, but coming out into the political world. Yeah, no. But you know what I mean? I think that will be his introduction, I should say, into politics, where he comes out. And, Tiffany did that, and they really didn't bother with her. Tiffany came out and campaigned for her father the first time around, and they really didn't go after her. Maybe they couldn't find anything. I mean, he's only 18. I'm sure he's squeaky clean.
You know what I think? I don't think they want him on the convention floor. He's too high profile and too tall, and I think they think it's a mob scene and a security risk to have him on the convention floor.
Maybe.
And the way it works when you're a delegate, you have to be there with the delegates on the floor in that state section, and I just don't think they want him down there.
But you think he'll come out and speak?
He very well may, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would love to see him do that. I would love to see him come out and introduce his father, and I would like to see Melania more with campaigning.
Yeah.
And, I'd like it. It seems to be there's not as much of the family presence right now, but maybe they're busy with the court things and helping their dad with that. I'm not saying they're not involved in his life. It's just a little different. But he has so much going on. He's probably delegated his family to help him with certain things. Now, Bill Maher even attacked Stormy Daniels Friday. and said that she lied in court. He called her a liar. He said that what she said in court was the opposite of what she said on my show.
And he
said she lied.
Yeah, he played actually the interview he did with her like 5-6 years ago where she said something completely different than what she said in court.
He said in court, she said she blacked out, she felt trapped, and she was scared. He said, well, he played the clip of her on his show, and it was totally different, that she was like, totally in charge and this and that. He said, give me a break. He said she sleeps with men for a living. She blacks out during sex. He said that's all she does is have sex with men.
Exactly.
And that's her job. And he said there's no way that she's afraid of having sex with some guy, especially somebody famous and all that. I wonder if Bill Maher, he called her a liar, but did he go so far to say that Trump didn't even sleep with her? Is he able to do that? Is he able to say, you know what? Maybe she didn't sleep with him. Maybe she made the whole thing up. I haven't heard that come out of his mouth yet, but I think it will happen. And as liberal as Bill Maher likes to let people think, he's really a conservative that just hates Trump for some reason. He's kind of like Ann Coulter in a way. Like she's a conservative, but for some reason she doesn't like Trump. But I think he's very conservative. But you have to give him credit for calling liberals out more than anybody on a national popular show. And at least he's honest. Unlike, and then he'll have a panel of liberals and he'll tell them to their face.
He's honest. He's honest compared to the other liberals. Now, let us know in the comments what you think about everything we've talked about here in the first segment, both this registered sex offender thing, your thoughts on all of that,
and Barron,
and Barron at the convention, and also what we were just talking about now with Bill Maher. Bill Maher is more MAGA than he'll ever admit. It's in his bones.
I agree.
We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Discover a fresh twist on vampire romance in Ashley Lockwood's Shadow of Dark Desire. Follow Gwendolyn Moore as she navigates newfound powers alongside Cyrus, a mysterious vampire protector. Hunted for her power, Gwendolyn leans on Sirius despite their forbidden bond. As their relationship evolves amidst magical conflict, themes of trust, power, and resilience unfold. Lockwood's narrative, enriched by a diverse cast of characters, offers a captivating blend of magic and romance. Don't miss your chance to experience this mesmerizing novel, praised for its engaging plot and detailed character development. Shadow of Dark Desire is currently available for free on Amazon for a limited time. Dive into this enchanting tale by searching Shadow of Dark Desire and get your free copy today. Are you tired of those same old boring podcasts? Are you looking for a podcast that'll make you laugh and also discusses things that you relate to? Then add Meet in the Middle to your podcast playlist, hosted by award-winning comedians Dan and Andy. Meet in the Middle is perfect to listen to on your way to work, but not until after you drop off the kids. They teamed up together after Andy had let himself go, after being on national television over 5,000 times. Dan had to gain weight for his operation, and Andy had to lose weight to get back on TV. So they decided to meet in the middle and start a podcast. For over 250 episodes, Dan and Andy kept their podcast hidden from U.S. markets, but now they're ready to share Meet in the Middle with the world. Add Meet in the Middle to your podcast playlist right now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Share the podcast on all your social media so your friends can tune in too. Meet in the Middle on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Start listening right now. If you're a fan of The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest and Ink and Bone, then you'll want to add the book from author S.Z. Estevillo to your must-read list. In The Serpent's Bridge, meet Detective Nazario. Haunted by her father's unsolved murder, a case that has consumed her for 24 years, she's determined to uncover the truth. The killer, she believes, is still out there, targeting innocent lives. Now, as Mexican immigrants fall prey to a serial killer, Nazario senses a chilling connection. Sanctuary Baptist, known as a haven for immigrants, holds secrets that could unravel the case. Teaming up with her former lover, Special Agent Blake Huxley, the stakes are higher than ever. Can she stop the murders before more families are torn apart? Is this the same killer who murdered her father and left him for dead under a bridge? Pre-order your copy today on Amazon and follow S.Z. Estevillo on Goodreads. Put it on your want-to-read list and prepare for a thriller where the past and present collide with deadly consequences. Are you looking for that perfect personalized gift that's sure to make a lasting impression? Look no further than Callahan Engraving on Etsy. With a vast selection of engraved gifts, Callahan Engraving on Etsy have something for everyone. They offer complimentary engraving, presentation boxes, and free shipping on orders over $35. Whether it's for a special occasion or just to show someone you care, Callahan Engraving has you covered. You can choose from over 1,000 unique items, including awards, plaques, tumblers, cutting boards. They even have picture frames. Each gift is engraved with love and great attention to detail, ensuring it comes out exactly as you envision. If you're in search of a truly special gift, one that's personalized and sure to be treasured, visit Callahan Engraving on Etsy. Online at etsy.com/shop/Callahan Engraving. Etsy.com/shop/Callahan Engraving.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
There's a big article right here. I'm going to go through this about Trump at the rally with Doug Burgum. It says here, Trump's new VP favorite, Republican governor, now tops the list for the odds makers. Okay, it says here, Donald Trump continued auditioning potential vice president Saturday at his massive Wildwood, New Jersey rally. Trump trotted out North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum to give some opening remarks, revealing that he flew to the oceanfront site with Trump on board Trump Force One. When it was Trump's turn to speak, President Trump hinted that Burgum could be the one. So get ready for something. Okay, just get ready, Trump teased.
Yep, it's going to be him. I mean, out of all the people on the list, he's the only one that flew to his biggest rally. That's not a coincidence.
Now, the odds makers have changed all the odds now in the VP race, okay?
Yes.
This shot the odds of Burgum becoming Trump's running mate to the top, according to the betting site oddschecker.com. The North Dakota governor now leads the list, followed by Tulsi Gabbard, which, you know, she's a radical liberal.
She's so desperate for that job.
J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, then Stefanik. Tim Scott from South Carolina is missing from the list, and Kristi Noem's, nobody thinks she's still on the list. So you were talking about Burgum a couple weeks ago.
Well, if you're one of our Patreons, I had put in the Patreon group about a week and a half ago, or maybe last week, I put a picture of Burgum, and I said, this is my prediction for vice president. This was before the rally, before the polls or this thing you just said. And the reason I said that was because I had seen him I saw a clip of him on the news. I can't remember. And I had forgotten about him, and he was really defending Trump a lot. I think he was a clip on Fox. And with these things, and I remembered he had been at a few rallies before, and that he was a businessman. And I thought to myself, you know, I think this is going to be Trump's guy. I think we've mentioned him once or twice in the past. So I put in the Patreon like a week or week and a half ago. I put a picture of Doug Burgum, and I said, this is my prediction for VP. I'm sticking with it, and I'm still sticking with it. And I know we've talked about other people, but I think, you know, Trump has waited for good reason, because you never know what's going to happen with these politicians, what's going to come out about them. I think Kristi Noem was definitely in the top 3. And I think the fact that she doesn't even realize what she did is shocking to me. She can't even accept how she screwed up.
She stopped her book tour, so she knows something.
Maybe it finally sunk in.
You know, so she screwed up.
Because at first she was doing interviews, and some interviewers said, you know, you're not on the VP list anymore, and she was like stunned.
She may become secretary of something.
No, I don't think so.
But that's even iffy. Now, Fareed Zakaria over at CNN, I want to play this because this is amazing. Now, Fareed Zakaria not only hates Trump, he hates America, he hates Americans, hates Republicans. He wrote a book years ago called The Post-American World, and it's a book where Fareed Zakaria fantasizes a world where America is brought down to size and the developing world takes over, right?
Yeah, that's how these liberals are.
Yeah, it's just like some weird fantasy he has. This is Fareed Zakaria on CNN over the weekend.
party seems more openly divided than it has been in decades. Only 33% of
By the way, he's talking about the Democrat Party being
Okay.
divided, okay?
Okay.
said they approved of Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, which is now opposed both by people who think he is too soft and people who think he is too hard on Israel. Meanwhile, Republicans seem to be uniting behind Trump. Whatever opposition he faced in the primaries has largely melted away. And the trials against him keep him in the spotlight, infuriate his base, who sees him as a martyr, and even may serve to make him the object of some sympathy among people in general who believe that his prosecutors are politically motivated. This happens to be true, in my opinion. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Wow. So Fareed Zakaria, what he's saying there is that there's no crime here, that Trump's only being persecuted because he's the front runner. He's polling. So
What is going on with CNN?
He's basically saying, Fareed Zakaria, that
It's a witch hunt.
that the case is lawfare. It's a fake case. It shouldn't even be happening.
Yep.
And it's all about stopping a political opponent. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And Fareed Zakaria, he went on to say, I can't listen to his voice any longer than that, so I'm not going to play the other clip, but I'll just tell you what he said. He said that Biden should adopt Trump's border policies. Really? I mean, Fareed Zakaria had been on CNN for years attacking Trump for his border policies. Now he wants Biden to do that?
Here's the deal. Biden's not running the country at all in any way, shape, or form. He's a puppet. He has zero authority and zero power. And I'm not going to get into why, but we can all make
because
our own.
he's senile old coot.
Well,
you know,
not just that.
Wears adult diapers.
He's just made
out of it.
deals, and the deals he made allowed other people to run things while he just gets shuffled out in front of a microphone once in a while to scream at people. But he's not running the show. And we all know who is. And the person running the show hates America and wants to bring it to its knees. And I think liberals, I don't know what's going on at CNN, but they've turned on Biden.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what their goal is, if this is their last-ditch effort.
They want to have a broker convention and plug somebody else in.
That's what I think they're trying to do. They're trying to get him to resign. Never going to happen.
Or
Never gonna
drop out of
happen.
the race.
Drop out, I mean. That's not going to happen. He's a stubborn old coot. And his wife will never let it happen. She loves being first lady too much. And he's so deluded, Biden. I mean, he thinks the economy is great, that he thinks he probably can actually win. But I think they have come to accept the fact that he's screwed and they're screwed, and that Trump's getting bigger and bigger than ever every day. I mean, you know, they talk about this ad nauseum day in and day out, and they're constantly, you know, scheming. So I think this is part of their scheme to try to replace him somehow, because he cannot win and he's a disaster. And I don't think they even like the direction the country's going in, but they're not going to come out and say that public. Well, he just did. So, you know, they're starting to come out and actually speak against it and speak against Biden's policies and how disastrous they are. They're finally admitting that the country is in a bad state and it's his fault.
Yeah,
it's really incredible.
Now, over the weekend, you know, these terrorist Hamas supporters at the universities are going nuts.
That's really dividing their party.
Jerry Seinfeld was invited to speak at the graduation at Duke University, and these terrorist pro-Hamas graduates, they walked out. They carried with them Palestinian flags. You know, one thing we talk a lot about, it's usually with the southern border, but now we got this Muslim problem, is how this new wave of immigrants don't become Americanized. We have these Middle Eastern, these Muslims that have come here that are bringing their Middle East culture into this country and not becoming Americanized. And this obviously this is the most diverse country, and we're into diversity and everything. But our cultures are so different. The Muslim culture with our Western culture. There's no agreement on much of anything. In fact, there's not an agreement on anything between the two cultures. And these Muslims that are disrupting these universities with their Palestinian flags, when Jerry, I tell you this, Jerry Seinfeld, who America loves, Jerry,
He's a Democrat, too.
Jerry Seinfeld speaking at a university and Palestinian students getting up with multiple Palestinian flags would be as if there was a black comedian speaking and a bunch of students got up and walked out with Nazi Klan flags. Or since it's Jerry Seinfeld, as if they walked out with Nazi flags. The Palestinian flag and the Nazi flag represent much of the same, okay, when it comes to Jews. And their position in most issues, there not all, but in a lot of issues, there's two sides. There's some middle ground. On the southern border, there's no middle ground because we have a border. But with these Hamas protesters at the school, there's no middle ground. There's no common ground. There's no nothing. And what they're doing
it's their way or no way.
Yeah, what they're doing is 1,000% anti-Semitic hate. And I wonder what Jerry Seinfeld was thinking when he saw that. I mean, my
I wonder if
goodness.
he was a little scared. He's Jewish. So
yeah,
I wonder if
he probably was.
But that's the guy clip you just played. I can't remember his name.
Fareed Zachariah.
Yeah. He's CNN. Right. This is an issue that is dividing the Democratic Party because there are a lot of Jewish people that are Democrats, and there's a lot of high-profile Jewish people that are Democrats. I mean, look at Fetterman. But he has a Jewish name, but he's not Jewish, so I don't know. But he's against all of this. He supports Israel. But there's a lot of people that are high-profile Jewish people that have big money, that are donors, and people in Hollywood that are probably appalled about this. But I think if they might be waiting to see if it kind of dies down. I don't think it will, but I think he's right. It's dividing this party, and that's good for us that it's doing that. But it seems to be taking off all the oxygen in the room. They're trying to make abortion a thing, and it's never going to become a thing anymore. It's just an old tired thing that's not as important as it used to be at some point. And this is like not going away anytime soon, I don't think. Of course, now the college year is ending, so that's probably what will end it. But who knows where else they'll go? But everybody's, it's May.
They're going to go to
the year's ending now. It's going to summertime.
They're going to go to the Democratic convention this summer.
That's right. Well, yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder why what's their beef with Biden? I guess because he's giving Israel.
We support Israel. And
Trump does, so why don't they go after him? He supports Israel.
Because they vote Democrat, so they figure it's, you know what I mean? And the Democrats are in charge right now. They're running the White House. But the Democrats, their convention's coming up, and they're actually talking about having a virtual convention, like COVID's going on.
Oh, my God.
Because they're in such fear of the protest. And that's not going to fly. They're not going to get away with doing that. I mean, it would look like what it is. But the Democrat convention, they're expecting some of the largest protests in the history of conventions, and they're expecting a redo of 1968, which you had all the Vietnam War protesters and stuff showed up at the convention, and it was a disaster.
What's kind of funny is this is a problem they've created themselves.
Yeah.
They've created this problem.
That's right.
So I have zero sympathy for them.
Oh, no.
They've created this whole nightmare for themselves.
Yeah. Now, tomorrow, this week, Michael Cohen takes the stand, and there's no way that's not a disaster. There's no way.
Well, he's already lied under oath once.
He's lied to everybody he's ever talked to. He went to prison, everything else. Yeah. And Trump's attorneys are going to get a good round with him, and they know everything because he was with Trump the whole time. So this is the most bizarre trial I've ever seen. They've had weeks of witnesses, the prosecution. Every single prosecution witness has cleared Trump. Every single one. These are prosecution witnesses.
Everybody is saying now this is falling apart.
Well,
so it's going to.
This is the thing. In the first segment we were talking about the sex offender thing at the rally. This is what pissed me off about that was allowed to happen. When that rally was going on, people were saying online that Trump's support is so large that these lawfare people, the establishment, these cases have got to be over. They got to be in a panic. Well, what happens is they were deflated from the 100,000. Then they see this sex offender thing, and now they got hope again. You know what I mean? So they don't back off. They say, oh, it was a big rally.
That's only going to give them something to flap about and make them feel good for 24 hours or 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's really not, I don't think he's big enough. And I really think that the problems in the country, I think that's going to fall flat. They might mention it. I don't think it's going to have legs. Like, it's not even on Twitter right now.
I agree.
They might mention it tomorrow, but it's going to fall flat. It's not, it's not like a guy that's in his inner circle that he hangs out with all the time. He's probably played golf with him once. It's not a good look. And I think I agree. Trump, his team needs to be a little more careful because, it's not going to affect MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of people that are teetering right now on deciding and are thinking about voting for Trump. And that's the kind of thing that could make them not jump on board.
It doesn't,
you know what I mean?
It doesn't help us with
No.
women. It doesn't help us with women.
Right. You look at Herschel Walker. I mean, they brought out all that stuff with these women. That's what did him in. So it's not going to matter to hardcore MAGA because we know Trump and we're like, he doesn't know everybody's what they do or is responsible for it. But like I said, there's a lot of people that are becoming MAGA now more than ever. And they're on the brink. People thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you just got to be really careful. And we want to make sure we are kind and embracing those people to bring them on the Trump train.
When things are going so well, you don't bring puppy killers or registered sex offenders around the candidate, whoever they are. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, remember on the Patreon page, you have access to commercial-free editions of all the podcast episodes. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, and our newest top Patreon supporters, Rob and Trish. Thank you all. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this and every episode.
Thank you, all of you. Mm-hmm. I want to mention that we have 2 new additions to our family. Our dog Nina died last week, which was very hard. She was 17 years old. Brian went and had her put down at the vet.
It was awful.
And we have a cat, Luna, as you guys know, that my brother rescued. My brother kind of has a cat rescue. He loves
at his house.
My brothers always love cats. And he called me. We were thinking about getting another cat, but I wanted to get a kitten because Luna's still young, and I didn't want an older cat to come into the house that would try to take her place or dominate her. And she's not a big cat. Luna's kind of small. So we were calling around looking for kittens, and then my brother called me up Friday afternoon. He said, "Are you looking for kittens or a kitten?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I have 2 kittens here that are very little that somebody dumped on the side of the road." Can you imagine? He sent me a picture, and I said, "Okay." Brian went and got him. I said, "We'll take him." But I said, "I can't take any more. I just can't. I can't run like I wish I could, but I am disabled and I can't take care of all these animals. That's why cats are better for me. They're more independent." But anyway, so you went and got the 2 cats. We named them Pepsi and Cola. Mm-hmm. They're very cute. They were covered in fleas. So we bathed them. And we bathed them again today. Had a flea comb. You took them to the vet yesterday. He told us what to do. He said they're 4 weeks, but very small for their age, which they are. They're a little tiny. They look like they're 3 weeks, but they do have teeth. Their ears are straight up now, and they have those characteristics of a 4-week-old kitten. Mm-hmm. But they're very cute. We're keeping them in the guest room and going in, feeding them every 3 or 4 hours. Brian gets up early in the morning and feeds them their formula through a dropper, through a thing with a nipple. It's really cute, just like we used to do with Emily when she was premature. We had to feed her every 3 hours. It's just like that. And so that's our new kittens, Pepsi and Cola. I think those are cute names. And Luna hates them right now. We took her in the room and she actually hissed spit and growled and bared her teeth. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen her do that. And the vet said that's totally normal, and to keep them separated for a month, that they're too little to meet her, and keep them in the room until they get bigger, and slowly, she knows they're here. She's like, smells them on the, on the towels.
They're the tiniest kittens.
She can smell them on my hands.
They're the tiniest kittens I've ever seen. They're like cotton balls. They're like cotton balls.
Yeah, they're little.
Yeah.
If you're a Patreon, we put up some videos and stuff.
Yeah. There's a few videos. I put a video on the Patreon page this morning of me bottle feeding the two of them at like 5 in the morning.
They're really
6
cute.
in the morning, whatever time it was.
We're their new mommy and daddy.
Yeah, but our other cat Luna is a little mad at us right now. So
which happens because Emily got a cat and she said her cat Sagwa was mad at her and is still mad at her for sometimes. That's just how cats are, and she's going to have to get used to it. What am I going to say no to 2 little kittens? Because my brother said I can't take care of them. He's already got like 8 he's taking care of. He had nowhere to put them. And what am I going to do? Say no to 2 little kittens that were dumped on the side of the road by some
we were
monster?
We were going to get a kitten anyway. So now we have 2.
So now we have 2.
And they're so little.
They're adorable.
That when I took them to the vet, they told me they think they're boys, but they weren't sure.
They can't even tell yet.
Yeah, that's how little they are.
Yeah, they're so cute.
And they really...
One's white. Pepsi is white.
Yeah.
Cola is gray.
Yeah, that's how we tell them apart. And the name Pepsi, I actually got that from Mark Levin. Many years ago, Mark Levin had a dog that passed that he wrote a book about called Pepsi.
And I said, if you're going to name one Pepsi, then I thought, the other one's got to kind of go with it. So we were thinking, should it be Pepsi and Coke? I said, no, I don't like the name Coke for a cat.
Yeah.
So then we thought soda. No, then we thought Pepsi Cola, because that is what you call Pepsi. A Pepsi is Pepsi Cola. And Brian said that's perfect. So they're Pepsi and Cola. So I think that's really cute.
Yeah, they're cute. They're cute. And you guys
they're just starting to play.
You guys on Patreon, we put a bunch of videos up over the weekend. It won't become a cat.
We won't put up too many, just once in a while, but
But I've never seen kittens so little before, and it's crazy. Now I want to tell everyone about My Pillow. If you want to support all of the content I'm connected to, the podcast, my YouTube channel, the radio show, go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. There are huge savings. You can use our promo code on all the specials at mypillow.com, not just the ones that I talk about, but there are some big ones and some big specials. And I go over what I consider to be like the must-haves, like the My Pillow mattress topper, 50% off. I mean, that's an incredible deal. Okay, 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And it's also free shipping site-wide on orders over $75. So you get a double savings there. But there's a lot of new products. Mike Lindell, they even have socks. And they
ooh, I got to get those.
I need some socks. They have both like white socks and also like dress socks.
People message us all the time and tell us what they bought. So do that. Let us know what you bought. Somebody put a picture. They got the slippers, the slide-ins. They love them. And so you can always send us that or put it in the Facebook group.
Absolutely.
And we love to hear that. And a lot of people are taking advantage of all these specials right now.
Absolutely.
And I know Mother's Day is today, so happy Mother's Day. I hope some of you got My Pillow things for your moms, but Brian's favorite holiday is coming up, and those also make a good gift for Father's Day. Brian says it's the most important day of the year.
Well, other than my birthday.
Or Christmas or Easter, maybe. Yeah. But he loves Father's Day. So that's a good thing to do to get for fathers, too, is to check out My Pillow specials for your dad, especially if you have a dad in a nursing home or elderly. You know what? I just thought of something. My dad is having problems with his feet. And from golfing so much, he has like plantar fasciitis, I think he told me. He's very painful. I might get him those slippers to help him to walk around. They're very comfortable. I just thought of that.
Yeah,
and I think he would love that. I think they're very good. So if you have a dad that has issues like that or just has trouble sleeping, that you can help out with a topper, it's a great gift to get your father.
Absolutely. And the My Pillow products, whichever one you buy, whether it's the pillows, the mattress topper, the sheets, from our experience, everyone we give My Pillow products to, they tell us about them all the time because, everything Mike Lindell offers is very well made, lasts for years and years and years and years, and actually does what Mike Lindell says it'll do. So these are gifts that people remember and keep and tell you about for
Right.
years to come. So go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, that's Kane, and load up. And remember, it's also free shipping on orders over $75. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, and we'll talk to you next time.